Welcome to the Addiction Solution Podcast. I'm Michelle Dunbar. Enjoy listening and watching as addiction experts Mark Sheeran and I cover controversial as well as helpful topics on addiction, how to move past it, and other related subjects. As two of the co-founders of the Freedom Model, Mark and I will give you a completely new perspective on the topics that matter to you. We will take to task the Recovery Society's lies and misinformation and replace them with facts, research, and the methods to move on from addiction struggles without 12-step meetings, rehabs, and the shackles of endless recovery. Let's escape the treatment and recovery trap together and learn to be free. Welcome to the truth. We want to send you a free copy of our revolutionary book, The Freedom Model for Addictions. To help us bring this incredible gift to you, we ask that you pay a small fee for shipping. Learn how tens of thousands of people have permanently solved their addictions without steps or meetings, and make 2023 your best year yet. Give yourself or someone you love the gift of total freedom from addiction. Click on the link to get your free copy sent to you today. There you go. Hey everyone, welcome to the Addiction Solution. I'm Michelle Dunbar.
And I'm Mark Sheeran, and we are the co-authors of the Freedom Model for Addictions. Once again, I didn't grab a book.
We didn't grab a book, but right.
you know what the book is. Most of you do anyway.
Yes, but if you're new to the podcast, we wrote the Freedom Model for Addictions with our colleague, Stephen Slate. It is a completely different way to look at addiction, to solve it. There is a whole lot of misinformation out there that is rooted in 12-step propaganda. The entire treatment industry is built on it, and it's wrong. It's wrong. It's not, the research doesn't support any of it. Bill Wilson was not a scientist.
He's about as far from a scientist as a human can get. Literally.
And he definitely wasn't a behavioral health like guru or anything like that. He was a stockbroker. Like
he was a failed stockbroker, drunk. Nobody.
Yeah.
He was a nobody.
Yeah. So it's always ironic to me when we get to 12-step trolls that get on our social media and be like, "What are your credentials?" I'm like, well, we've been doing this for over 30 years and we are scientists and researchers. What are the credentials for the dude you followed?
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. So I digress. Here's what we want to talk about. It's the new year. The new year is upon us. I can't believe it. It's going to be 2023 in a few days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, of course, we would have to talk about the new year, new you kind of thing. And we want to just kind of explore a little bit about why, starting a new year or starting something new on a Monday or whatever day works for you is a good thing. It's a good thing to set a time and say, I'm going to do this then.
Yeah. Everybody needs a reset sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we don't want to bag on New Year's resolutions. Like a lot of people bag on them now. It's like vogue to like think, oh, that's so stupid to set a new, like no, it's not stupid to try and improve yourself.
Well, I think that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about improving life and becoming happier.
That's the key.
Yeah. So let me talk a little bit about being happier. We all have a sort of status quo, a sort of place that we settle into with mood, with our emotions, with the way we see the world. And that place, that norm, that personal norm, may not be where you want to be, right? You may be uncomfortable, discontented. Maybe you've had a lot of chaos this past year. Maybe you've made some poor decisions, and I think sometimes what people don't really get is just how powerful your thoughts are, that you that you really can start over. You can literally start over in your mind, and that will then be reflected in your physical world. And eventually you'll be more successful if you decide to be happier. And so in the Freedom Model, we talk a lot about the positive drive principle, this idea that we're always trying to achieve a happier existence. So if your status quo right now is way down here, right? You're in the pit. You're in I call it the tar pit. You just can't see out. You're depressed. You're anxious.
You feel stuck.
Yeah, you feel stuck. That's such a terrible place to be. We've been there.
Oh, for sure.
Multiple times in our lives.
Yeah, I think everybody has.
I think so. I think life is an ebb and a flow, and you have challenges that land in your lap that sometimes are very unpleasant. So sometimes we have to settle back and then say, okay, what exactly do I want this next year to look like?
Yeah.
And being happier is better sometimes than saying, I want to be happy. Because when people say, I want to be happy, there's this arbitrary, weird definition of that and especially with social media, like you're supposed to have this perfect life. And that sometimes seems unattainable.
Yeah. I mean, I think when people think of being happy as opposed to happier, they always equate it with being like joyful and triumphant. I mean, it's almost Christmas here while we're recording this. And that's there's so many different varying levels of being happy, and nobody's going to be jubilant on most days. Right. I mean, there are days that I feel like everything's right with the world and nothing could be going differently. It's just a change in attitude. I just had a good sleep or something, but most days I think I'm happy to be content. Right.
Yeah.
And so throw out the idea, whatever idea you have when we talk about be happy, and think of happier. I want to be one step happier than I am right now.
Yeah, that's it. So it's incremental, right? So every once in a while, a human, me included, have a massive psychic shift in a moment. You maybe a door opens in your mind and you're like, oh my God, I can let this go. Like I've talked to thousands and thousands of people through the years who have had these moments in life where they go, oh my God, I'm going to get divorced and it's okay. Oh my God, I'm going to get married and it's okay. Oh my God, I've decided I'm going to have children, when for 20 years, I never thought I would have children. So there's this massive psychic change in their life. Those are rare.
They are rare. I think some people wait for that to quit drinking or to quit doing drugs or whatever. You're waiting for this, the white light experience.
That's right. You're waiting for either some external thing to change in your life so that you can go and be happy, or you're waiting for some cataclysmic psychic thing to change inside of you to motivate you. And sometimes it's just not like that. So being happier is, what could I do right in front of me that makes it so that I get off the couch, I stop drinking the beer, I don't go and hide in a hotel this weekend and go on a binge. What could I do? Yeah. And one of the first things you could do is get the information to do that. That's why we give our book away for free. This isn't a commercial. This isn't, but we legitimately spent 34 years researching this and wrote it all down for you in the Freedom Model, and you can get it for free. We'll show you that offer at the end of the broadcast. But yeah, what could you do right now? Go do the dishes.
Well, so here is what I want. I want to kind of do an analogy or in comparison with the Freedom Model. When we talk about, a lot of times you'll keep drinking or using drugs in the way you're doing it because you enjoy the activity, right? You don't enjoy the consequences. You want to not have those consequences, but you enjoy the activity, so you keep doing it. Well, the opposite is also true. If you decide, this New Year's, I am going to be abstinent for the entire 2023. I am going to be abstinent. Well, the way to do that is to enjoy abstinence. Find a way to enjoy being abstinent, to feel happier that you're making the choice to be abstinent. People, that's the same thing is required when you want to lose weight. You really love the idea of the destination of losing weight, but you don't love exercise. You don't enjoy eating healthier foods. The key to actually achieving the destination is to learn how to enjoy exercising and eating healthier foods, because that's the only way I know to lose weight.
It's funny because when my son was in wrestling, year round, and he was really an elite wrestler for a long time. And they have a term in wrestling because it's such a miserable process.
Oh, yeah.
It's called embrace the grind. Now, I don't think that in life you always have to embrace the grind, because
No.
I think that if you have that kind of attitude, you'll actually invite pain into your life.
And burn yourself right out because you're not truly like finding a way to be happier.
And your attitude is bringing misery in. Let me explain what I mean by this. I grew up in a German family where there was a certain level of an attitude that you had to have enough pain that you had to endure, and it was hard work. And
that's a Catholic thing.
Yeah. Well, it's Catholic. It's very European.
Yeah.
For that generation of the 1920s through World War II that we grew up with
With
parents.
our parents, right.
And that was toil. The word toil.
Yes.
That and they embraced toil because that generation didn't have anything but that.
Right.
So when they embrace toil or embrace the grind, you can put yourself in situations that are very difficult to challenge yourself, and you'll have to embrace the grind. But I think that in Western culture now, we live in a society where you can actually enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
We have time. We're a very affluent world now. And so you have time. So you don't have to necessarily embrace the grind, but life's going to land in your lap no matter what. And there are moments where you're going to have to embrace the grind. The point is, when you embrace it, you're happier than not embracing it. You're happier than not upping yourself to the challenge, because if you don't, it's going to beat you down.
Yeah.
And, you'll lose your money, or you'll lose your apartment, or you'll be getting drunk every day. So sometimes there's a certain amount of rising to a challenge, but you don't have to go crazy. It might be, I'm just going to read the Freedom Model today.
Yeah. I'm going to read one chapter.
Yeah. I'm just going to go on TikTok and look at only positive affirmations. I'm going to go and have that difficult conversation with my mom and love her, even though it might be a little bit difficult, whatever it might be.
Well, it could be something as small as, for a long time, I hated doing the dishes. Like there are certain chores that I actually embraced and love, like doing laundry for whatever reason, but I hated doing the dishes. And so every time I would do the dishes, I'd be miserable. And I thought, it's kind of like, I've heard people say things like this: you're always going to have dishes and they're always going to need to be done. So I think it was Tanta.
Yeah.
His aunt would say, there's always dishes. We just got to get ready for the next meal. Right. And there's always going to be dishes. So if you find a way to be happy doing the dishes, you're going to have the same amount of dishes, but you're going to be happier doing them.
Well, the Buddhists, a lot of what they do, they have it right, because they're very, very love oriented, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they also are very accurate, and they have a saying that life is suffering. Now, some people can say, well, that's really negative. No, it's accurate. Literally, as I sit here, my back hurts.
These are terrible chairs.
They are. But your immune system is constantly fighting bacteria that is endlessly in your body, So there's the reality is it's 10 degrees outside, and we have to get heat, and we have to get money, and we have to toil to get the money, to get the heat, So life is gamed against you, but you don't have to make it worse.
No,
you don't have to
I
keep
used to
digging.
say that to my kids all the time.
Digging.
I'm like, stop making your life harder than it has to be. It's hard enough already.
That's right.
That's
right.
So now back to you. You're somebody that you're going into the new year. Maybe you've got the book and you started reading the book. And it's making sense to you, but you're still drinking more than you think you should, more than ultimately maybe you want to in the long run. You want to feel more in control of your drinking. Keep reading the book, but maybe, change something small, and know that, look, if you're somebody that's struggling to not drink at all, then you definitely don't understand that you have control. right? So maybe go to Appendix A
And that you've
B,
always had
and
control.
that you've always had control.
Yeah, Appendix A and B.
Appendix A and B, because running the abstinence experiment.
I'm going to go grab the book because I'm going to go over some chapters with you.
Okay. Running the abstinence experiment is important. It's important to challenge yourself and see, can I be happier without this substance? Can I be happier with an actual sober mind? And if you look at, you can be, I don't care who you are, you can be, because ultimately happiness is a choice, isn't it?
That's right. So there's chapters that we deal with this topic specifically. So if you don't have a copy of the Freedom Model, you can get it for free right now.
Yes, you can actually get the paperback.
Yeah. Internationally, we don't send it to outside the US because the shipping charge is so large. It's cheaper for you to get the paperback on Amazon.
Yes.
So we're not going to charge the shipping to international people when you could get it cheaper. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
But anybody in the US,
yeah, we'll send you the paperback. We have boxes of them ready to go.
So I think that when it comes to changing your life and becoming a happier person, one of the first chapter you should probably read is chapter 7, which is the positive drive principle, which explains how humans are motivated with happiness and the happier argument, becoming happier. Leaving the cage of recovery is a powerful one. That's chapter 12. I would also read chapter 11, mental autonomy and free will. I would look at chapter 13, which is success. And the funny part is ironic. Success is knowing that you are free and happily choosing what you see is best for you. What if you approach the decision without shame? It's your choice to make, and here's why it matters. You are free to rethink the benefits of continued substance use. You are free to rethink the benefits of reducing or quitting substance use. You are free to shift your focus from cost to benefits.
Can we just focus on that one right there? One of the ways that you can become happier immediately in the choice to not drink or not do drugs is in shifting your focus from trying to avoid the costs to shifting your focus to viewing them as benefits.
That all the options, what is the most beneficial for you?
Yeah.
For you. You get to determine that. You get to write your own world. So that's really important.
Like you can go from thinking, oh, I don't want to drink because I don't want to get that horrible. I don't want to feel like crap. I don't want that horrible hangover. Shift that. I know this sounds trite and small, but it is not. It's a shift in your whole mindset. Shift that thinking to, you know what? And I do this all the time with food and stuff, with sweets. I'm not going to eat that because because I want to feel good. I know if I go for a walk today, it'll make me feel amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like shift that. And the truth of the matter is, I know it sounds small, but practice that thinking. See, I almost did it wrong before because it is so ingrained in us to avoid consequences.
Yeah. We're trained that way. We're trained not to look at the happiness options or the happiness value of our decisions. We're trained literally to ignore that, which is the opposite of motivation.
Right. It's why so many people struggle.
It's why you stay stuck.
Yes.
So here's some really, chapter 14 is awesome. Reclaiming your freedom and happiness. You are what you think. These are topic headings. Identical thoughts equal identical feelings and behaviors. Choose a new self-image and then make a direct preference change. And then there's motivators versus deterrents, which is what she was just talking about. Either being motivated, or are you trying to deter yourself with negative consequences?
You're trying to avoid consequences.
Right. And we all know that doesn't work for very long. It's all about moving forward. If you've noticed that every single thing that I've been reading is all about happiness, moving forward, being motivated. How are we motivated effectively? And how do you move forward in your life? So here's some more stuff. Chapter 16. What is a preference? Multiple options. These are the topic headings. Don't make your change unnecessarily conditional. And here's a big one. Unhappiness isn't a cause of heavy substance use. Most people think,
Right.
yeah, if I'm unhappy, I'm going to get high.
We're never saying that people get high because they're unhappy. We're never saying that. And if you don't if now you're like, oh, wait a minute, then go back and read that chapter, because what we're saying is, if you genuinely believe that you'll be happier without it, you won't want it.
That's right.
Okay. You won't want it. That doesn't mean you're going to be happy all the time. That just means, I know, even when I'm miserable, I know that getting drunk tonight won't make me happier, even for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's just a sampling that we hammered through. Go ahead.
I want to say that again for the people in the back who can't hear. Okay. Listen to what I said. When you genuinely know that you're happier without it, you won't want it, even when your life sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
even when your life sucks, you'll know, because we've gone through some really tough times in the last 10 years. Okay. I mean, we're getting older. People that we love are dying. I mean, we've experienced tragic loss. We've experienced difficulties in, our business and things like that, in our marriages. We've gone through all of this knowing that getting drunk wouldn't help us,
because we've debunked the value that beer marketing and liquor marketing and the drug dealer marketing and the pharmaceutical marketing, we've debunked all that. So we know that there's no magic in the substance. You may still believe in the magic. You may not even know that you do.
Right.
So that's why this book is so important. It debunks all that. It shows you that you have always been in control. You are the operative force. The drug isn't.
Right.
And that's such a massive, massive difference from every single other modality that exists in the world today that tries to help people with substance use problems. All the modalities are centered around, you need to change everything external to you so that you don't fall into your weakness.
And you need support
to prop you up.
And we had a question recently in our group too about feeling like you need support when you're first quitting, right? When you're first quitting drinking. Well, then you've missed
the decision-making process.
A huge portion of our book. Look at sometimes we have to put the action before the feeling, right? We
wing it.
You wing it. You think, I know what they're saying, but I don't know for sure I can be happier without it. Well, then run the experiment.
Right. Try it.
Run the experiment and say, I am going to, and some will say, well, I went 3 months abstinent and I was miserable. Being miserable is always a choice.
Well, being miserable is based on information in your mind. So you're miserable because
you believe you're missing out.
Because you believe the drug has magic that you are deprived of. If you still believe there's magic in the drug, that it contains stress relief, anxiety relief, trauma relief, if you believe that shit, my God, are you going to feel deprived of your medication?
Yes, of your escape.
That's right. So these profound active placebo myths, these things where we believe that drugs contain these mental medicinal values, if you believe that, you're going to want it forever, because life is suffering.
Yes.
And so if life has a certain modicum of suffering in it, and then you have this drug that they say, hey, it takes away. Heroin is a warm blanket for your emotions. If you believe that shit, if you believe it, you're doomed. You're going to continue to use it until it kills you.
Do you know what opiates work for? Physical pain. Physical pain. That's it.
That's right.
And they're really good. They're really good at that.
Yeah, they are. They're wonderful drugs.
But they can't change your mind.
But they can't change your stress, your trauma. You may use it as a distraction so that you choose in the confines of your mind to use the physical pleasure that you find there as a reason to distract yourself. Fine. But that's going to only last so long. And then you're miserable again. And
look, we're not saying that people at some points don't want to escape or need an escape. What we're saying is the drug isn't doing it for you. You're doing it. So if you're doing it,
Always. You've always been the one that's doing it in your own mind. I choose every day, I choose a little escape at different points of the day, whether it's through music or reading or because I know, or like going to the gym or walking, because I know I get to escape anytime I want because I'm the only one in my mind and I can choose to do it. I can choose to check out. I can choose to turn my phone off. I can choose to turn off the television. Like when I walk, I usually listen to music or a podcast because that's how I choose to escape. So you can choose to take a break from the stresses of life at any point in time, and you don't need anything to do it.
That's right. That's right. And so here's what's interesting about drugs and alcohol because of the marketing that you've been sold for really in our society for about thousands of years, really. I mean, some of this stuff goes way back,
Oh yeah.
especially with booze and opiates and some of the older drugs. You believe that it has the capacity to go into your thoughts and change them. That fundamentally is the greatest myth and lie told about drugs. What drugs do is they affect the physical body. Now, I'm gonna switch gears, right? Let's say that I talked about this in the last podcast. There's a great scene in Ford versus Ferrari where Ford, the CEO of Ford, I forget his first name, gets in the race car with Carroll Shelby for the first time. Carroll Shelby runs through the gears and really scares the shit out of him. And CEO Ford cries. He literally cries, and is so overwhelmed by the experience that it completely changes his mission to go against the company Ferrari in this big race that's coming up. So would we say, with this massive psychic shift that he has and this thrill ride, which completely gets him from a negative state of mind to a completely focused mind in less than 2 minutes, would we say that there was a compulsion, that there was a force within that car that changed his mind? Was it the car that changed his mind? Or was it his perception of the event of getting in the car and going 200 miles an hour and sliding around the corner? So the point is it his mind or is it his body? Is it the physical car? Is it the external circumstances? No, it's the way he interpreted that 2 minutes in his life that made all the difference.
That's right.
So if you perceive drugs and the effects they have on your body as a unbelievably stress relieving experience because somebody told you that, well, then you're going to experience that because that's what your mind is creating. Okay. There are plenty of people that take opiates and hate it. There are plenty of people that smoke pot and hate it. There are plenty of people that drink and hate it. It's not inherently pleasurable. It doesn't have any capacity to know what's in your mind because it's a physical molecule. This nuance is, I go over it in every podcast.
Because we still get those questions, even from people that have read the book a couple times, we understand an emotional attachment to an experience based on your beliefs.
Yeah.
Because we had it.
Yes.
Okay. We understand it better than you know. We've had people get the Freedom Model, read it and then totally reject it. And you can do that if you want. But then they go out and they continue to struggle and they go to different rehabs and therapists and they've done the sober living and they've done all of these external things.
So painful to watch.
Right. To try and
get changed
from the outside in.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Well, there's no way to do that.
No.
Because the thing that makes you is your mind.
Yeah.
And if you want proof of that, I'll tell you one way. What are you if you don't have thoughts? Right now, think about that. So if I had no thoughts, what are you? You don't fucking exist.
Right.
You can't behave. You can't drink coffee. You can't do drugs. You couldn't have sex. You couldn't walk across. You couldn't do anything. So you are your mind. So is there any way that somebody outside, some chain of event outside you is going to know what you're thinking and then change your mind for you? Do you really believe that a drug can do that? Now, put that way, you suddenly realize, my God, there's no way it can. It's not that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, well, I was going to say, I don't want you to think it's futile either, because the answer is you, and it always has been. And I know we're making it. Some people will immediately defensively go to, oh, yeah, oh, so I just got to change my mind, and it's so easy. Look at,
That's so true.
I mean,
they go to that because they haven't read the book.
because right, and it's like, the book is it's a big book. I mean, it's long, and it goes, and it's an onion, and you peel back the layers, which I say almost every time. We have a podcast that's called that, because beliefs are layered, right? They build on each other. And so when you're breaking down a belief system like the addiction, disease, magical substance belief system, you have to break it down in layers and realize, to get down to the base, which is everything that I do, I choose, number one. And I choose everything I do because I believe it'll make me happier in that moment.
That's right. So what you choose for your happiness matters.
Yes.
What you believe about the world around you matters. What you believe about a substance matters. If you believe substances are magical, you will believe that they will make you happier, and you will crave them. You will want them. If you want that all to go away because it hasn't been working, then you have to change your beliefs about the drug to make better decisions in the direction of happiness.
And likewise, if you believe your brain is broken in some way, that it makes you do, you're out of control, whether you're out of control from that first drink, or you're out of control just to choose it because you're triggered by outside things. If you believe those things, you will act those things out.
And if that's the case, read Appendix A and B.
Yeah.
Those are the research ones. They are the juggernaut. You will understand.
And chapters 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Chapters 1 and 2 go with them.
Yes, the macro chapters.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
that's the basis right there. I mean, you have to get to the point where you know unequivocally that you're choosing.
Yeah, you do. You do. If you're not there, you have to get there.
You have to get there.
If
Everything downstream of the whole powerlessness idea is screwed. It's
it's a huge distraction from understanding that you are this amazing miracle.
Amazing.
Your mind is an amazing miracle. It's literally miraculous because you can choose anything for yourself.
So you can make 2023 the year that you finally solve this problem for good. You can do that, and it may be a process. It may take you the whole year before what's in this book really solidifies and makes you know beyond the shadow of a doubt. You'll know when you've got it because it'll be easy.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. A lot of times it takes getting through this entire thing, right? This entire curriculum.
More than once.
Yeah. But for others, it's go on Amazon, look at the reviews. There's hundreds of people that say, you know what? I read the book and it changed my life because I figured it out. I figured out that I can be happy without substances. I got
or with less.
Yes.
With less. I mean,
Sure.
there are a lot of people. If you go into the Freedom Model group, the private Facebook group, the Freedom Model group, we have a lot of members now who have been members for a couple of years, and they figured it out. And we watch them go through the process, figure it out in the group, which is really exciting and fun, because they're not necessarily people that have come to the retreat or people that we've worked with on Zoom in our coaching sessions. There are people that just worked through it on their own through the book and listened to our podcasts and watched us on YouTube, and they ran the experiments and they didn't give up. They'd ask a question. They'd come to one of our lives, twice a month. Our certified coaches do a live Q&A. It's the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 4:00, and you can ask a question and they will answer you directly. It's on YouTube. It streams live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and on the Freedom Model pages. We have a huge TikTok following now, and we do short little TikTok vids every day. We put up new vids. I've been taking.
Sure does attract the trolls, though.
Oh boy, there's a huge recovery community on TikTok. We had no idea. We poked that bear, boy.
Yeah, they're yeah, whatever.
Yeah, which is fine because Mark, you told me even some of them. That's the thing about the trolls. They're not all trolls, right? I'm sorry about the clock. I always forget about it. And
Sorry.
but we attract those people, but some of them really want answers.
They want to know. They're intrigued, and they
wouldn't bother if they weren't.
Right.
Like
Right.
so when sometimes they'll go out and so many people don't really have the answers that are kind of bashing. I want to say bashing AA and stuff, but then they don't really have a better solution themselves, that they're so accustomed to that then when they get to us and we're like, oh yeah, we got a book. We have the whole, sorry about that. We have the whole thing like spelled out for you so you can actually change your mind and change your thinking and even leave recovery forever. Like once they realize we're the real deal, a lot of those people get converted.
Yeah, they do. They suddenly realize they can be free. So the other thing I want to say is there are people out there who aren't going to read a book.
That is true.
And so we created the online program, the Freedom Model online program, which is all pre-recorded video with Michelle and I teaching tutorials on this entire curriculum. There's over 65 videos. There's a Freedom Model for the Family online program is in there. A deprogramming from AA seminar series is in there where I go through AA, their finances. I go through all that stuff and I show how it's a cult and why you need to avoid that, why nobody should ever go to AA or any 12-step group.
We have a great little newsletter in there.
Yep.
That has articles that our certified coaches have written. We have the book reviews, things like that of other books. People always come on and say, have you guys read like this book or that book? Yeah, we've pretty much read them all. And so we review those kinds of things. There's also our additional lessons, the binge construct.
Yeah. Life movements, how I show you how to move forward in your life. I do a seminar on
we creating a new self-image.
Yeah. And mind and the brain. I go through a lesson on the difference between the mind and your physical structure of the brain. So, and that's an important nuance to understand as well. So that can be found at thefreedommodel.org.
Yes. You can get to our online program right through our website. And so yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah. And if you need any help, we have coaching also. So just give us a call, 888-424-2626. All right, everybody, get your free book though.
Yeah. Free book.freedommodel.org.
All right. Bye.
Are you struggling with a drug or alcohol problem, but you don't want to go to rehab or group meetings? Well, that's why we created the non-12-step Freedom Model coaching program in 2011. Through video conferencing on Zoom or Skype, you can work privately with a certified Freedom Model coach from your home or office on your schedule. And here's the best part. With the Freedom Model, you'll never be labeled an addict or an alcoholic, and we won't tell you to go to 12-step meetings or hamper your life with endless recovery rituals. Instead, you can learn exactly why addiction isn't a disease and how you can solve the problem for good and move on with your life. Do you want to be completely free from your addiction? Do you want to never have to attend meetings, rehabs, or addiction counseling ever again? And do you want to solve your problem from the comfort of home? Then call us at 888-424-2626 to talk with a Freedom Model coach today and experience the Freedom Model difference.